Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Table Talk. I'm your host, Jake Combs, and tonight we're taking a look at specifically the ultra flat single blade nipper from Green Stuffed World and comparing it against basically 3 generations of Games Workshop Citadel clippers. Now, basically in the order of their release. So we're going to go ahead and try them out in comparison. And as you can see, Bellicor right here, he is in need of some assembly. And so this is actually my first time building him. And he's actually going to be my latest building and painting project. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's double check, make sure there's nothing on this sprue that is related to the base, because we're going to start with the base first. All right, nothing there. So set that aside. So for this test, we're just going to be doing it on the base itself. And then so we're going to be testing the tips of them versus the just general clipping skill of them as well. And we are going to keep the base separate from the rest of Bellicor. So let's go ahead and get started, start clipping. So these are the oldest of my Citadel clippers. All right. So using the older Citadel clippers, now we do have a bit of sprue still on right here. Not an even cut right here either. Definitely have some flash that's going to need to be trimmed off with a razor. Definitely a little piece right there as well. So definitely not great clippers, but part of it is also because they are really dull and have been used many, many times. Now this pair has never been used, but it is an older one that I had misplaced and recently rediscovered. Now the grips on them, I'm not a big fan of these, because they are all metal. Definitely need the kind of the rubberized, textured grips to help keep them in place. All right. So we got a little bit of flash right there, not a lot. It is definitely cleaner than the older set. We do have a bigger piece right there, so not as perfectly smooth. Now this set, it actually does not join evenly. You can actually feel kind of a click, like they're overlapping a little bit. So it could just be a defect on this set. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever used it. All right, so next, my favorite of the Citadel clippers. Let's see. So let's go ahead and clip off these 2 smaller ones right here. All right. So looking at these two pieces, do have a little bit of flash. This one is definitely a lot cleaner than the other one was. So it's not going to require much cleanup there. So here we actually got a bigger piece sticking off. And then the smaller piece, just because of the angle, we do have a little bit more right there as well. So it's not a perfectly smooth clip. Now, the Green Stuff World ones, the ones that we're trying out for the first time. Now, I do like the amount of tension in the spring. The other three, the tension is actually much higher, so it has a tendency of just like immediately trying to pop back outward or into an open stance. Where this one, it's much more gentle. It's a lot smoother. All right. All right. Now looking at this one. So we got a little bit right there. A little bit right there, but overall, this is by far the cleanest of the four. So definitely like the tension and the quality of the cut. And then, so now we're going to do more of a, just a brutal cut, just to see how smooth it is. And looking at that, that is actually a really straight cut. All right, so going backwards now. So the favorite of the GW ones. Pretty smooth overall. There's a little bit kind of hanging off, so it's not perfect. But so far, the Green Stuff World clippers are definitely winning it. Now, this one, as far as the tension, is the highest out of them all. And because of that alone, it is my least favorite. Now, doing a cut further down, it actually required a little bit more pressure, and this one actually came out jagged, kind of jagged. But I also realized that when I did it actually back here where there's a little bit of a gap, and so that makes sense. So let's go ahead and try it again, just not as far back. All right, now let's see. So there's still a little bit of overhang, which makes sense because, again, these are not meeting each other evenly. And then lastly, this one. So it required a lot more pressure to cut, and again, they are pretty dull, but it is a really smooth cut. Like, honestly, those ones doing a more, brutal, forceful cut, it actually came out smoother than either of the Citadel ones. But overall, I'm quite impressed with the Green Stuff World snippers. I mean, the only complaint I have about them is just the size of the blade. Now, these, my understanding is that there are some other side blades on them available, and it does actually on the package actually list what materials are recommended to use with this, specifically polystyrene, polypropylene, ABS, polyethylene, resins, and then soft wires. Now, I do have cutters that I use specifically for wires, and none of these are it. But yeah, overall, the best cut out of these 4 is the Great and Stuffed World ones. However, if I'm going to be cutting something bigger, I'll need a bigger blade, and so the newer of the Citadel clippers are going to be the way for me to go. So overall, definitely pleased with the Green Stuffed World one. I don't remember exactly what the pricing was off the top of my head, but it was actually quite reasonable. So if you are going to be placing an order with Green Stuffed World for other materials and you're looking for new cutters, I definitely would recommend picking these up.